Hey guys, welcome back to Pixel Rich Games! In this episode of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, we're gonna go through all the skills and abilities of His Royal Highness, the ruler of all Hyrule, the guy who lied to us and make us work for a glider in Breath of the Wild.
King Rhoam, Blasphemous Hyrule.
Let's dive right into it by checking out the King's Royal Information Panel. We have two types of attack in Age of Calamity, Y for regular attacks and X for strong attacks. The arrows that we see here indicate the different attacks that we can chain as combos. Unlike most unique action descriptions in this game, this tells us more or less what the ZR button does. ZR makes a switch between two forms. We have the King form and we have the baked apple loving hermit form. The difference between the two is that the King form deals stronger blows, while the hermit form has innately faster attack speed. I don't want to say that the King's better at fighting bosses and the hermit is just good for clearing out mobs of monsters, because in reality, these two are just one. Don't let the robes and weapons confuse you. Our unique action doesn't only change us from a king with a two-handed sword to a hermit wielding a two-handed axe. If we chain a ZR after a YX combination, we basically get an extra strong attack in. More on this a bit later. Our enhanced ability gives us a damage buff, and we can tell if it's active through a faint red aura around us. Before anything else, I just want to mention that our idle action that eats an apple actually heals us. Now we're ready to have a look at KRBH's 7 consecutive regular attacks in sword form first. In terms of regular attacks, both sword and axe forms have the same progression. The differences lie in the chained strong attacks. Here's his single strong attack with the sword. One Y straight to an X does a big horizontal slash that can expose a boss's weak point meter. These finishers are what we need to take note of, and I'll show you why later. YYX makes the king jump and smash back to the ground with his sword. YYYX ends with KRBH doing a huge vertical slash that produces a projectile. 4Ys to an X finishes with a "You shall not pass" move.
You shall not pass!
Like most champions in the game, 5Ys to an X and 6Ys to an X have the same finisher. This makes King Rhoam do a barrage of sword slashes. This move excels at exposing and destroying weak point meters. Now let's have a look at the axe counterparts. Like I said earlier, 7 regular attacks have pretty much the same animation as we can see here. Here's a strong attack with an axe. 1Y straight to an X with an axe conjures a tornado at the end of the combo, and this can deal huge damage to weak point meters. YYX makes Hermit Rhoam go ham and do multiple slashes. YYYX ends with Uncle Ruckus do a spinning attack. Four Ys to an X is a dashing elbow attack, because the people's elbow is better than an axe. Lastly, 5Ys to an X and 6Ys to an X makes this hermit throw his axe like a boomerang. This move not only looks sick, but also exposes an enemy's weak point meter. Now that we've gone through the whole list of combos, let me go back to his unique action and explain further how it works. Basically, we can add a ZR after a strong attack to mix in another strong attack into the combo. So we have all our sword strong attacks. Let's start small and just use a single X for our first example. Like we've seen earlier, A single X makes King Rhoam spin. Now following this up with the ZR, transforms him to a hermit and makes him do a finisher for our YX combo with an axe. One more example. This time, let's do a YX combo in axe form and chain a ZR after it. This series of commands makes Hermit conjure a tornado and then switch to royal robes and proceed to do the jumping attack from YYX with a sword. The ZR effects aren't random. If you haven't noticed yet, following up a strong attack with a ZR produces the finishing move, one regular attack longer, of the form that we will transform to. 6 Ys to an X when chained with ZR goes back to the single strong attack. So if we're holding a sword and we do 3 Ys to an X, then follow up with a ZR, this will add the finishing move of 4 Ys to an X when holding an axe. This is great for extending our combos and getting more creative, like doing an axe 6 Ys to an X that exposes weak point meters, then chaining ZR to go back to sword spinning attack, then doing another spinning attack chained to another ZR to create the tornado. Now I think we're ready to look at the moves that aren't shown on the Royal Information panel. Like all characters, we have the ability to wall jump. There's no button in this game to make a character jump. What we need to do is dash towards a structure by pressing B, then the option to wall jump will pop up, telling us to press B again if we want to jump. Once airborne, whether from a wall jump or an attack that launched us, we have a good number of options of what we can do next. Our first option is to simply fly away like a boss, which I use to either avoid fights when I'm in a hurry or to reposition myself in a boss fight. Next, we can do up to 3 regular attacks, and this looks very similar between sword and X. We can also follow up the Ys with an X or simply go straight to it. This makes Rhoam do an attack that slams him back to the ground. Like our 7 regular attacks, these aerial attacks have the same progression between the 2 forms. Just keep in mind that this is the only strong attack that cannot be followed up with a ZR. When running with this weapon resting on his shoulder, Rhoam gains 2 new attacks per guise at our dispersal. Here's his dash and regular attack while wielding a sword. And then his dash and strong attack. Here's his dash and regular attack with an axe. And his dash and strong attack. Both dash and strong attacks don't cancel our dash, so we can do this as much as we want. As we can see here, they're not only great for cutting down trash mobs, but also for trimming grass. We can also immediately follow up with a ZR to execute the corresponding switch and the 1Y to X finisher. Because one-handed swords are just too small for His Highness, we are not able to equip a shield, so we lose the ability to do perfect guards. If you don't know what perfect guard is, check out my guide to one-handed weapon link. Links in the description. Even if we don't have perfect guard, we still have access to flurry rush. This can be triggered by dodging with B right as the boss is about to hit us. Once it triggers, we just mash Y to destroy their weak point meter. Now that we're done with the unwritten, we can now proceed to His Highness rune abilities. We can activate a rune by holding R and then pressing X, Y, A, or B. R plus X activates stasis that can freeze enemies in front of King Hermit. We can also follow up with X for another You Shall Not Pass attack. Timing the additional X with the light gathering around King Hermit increases the damage from the strong attack. We also have the option to dodge cancel out of this combo. R plus Y activates Remote Bomb. This makes King Hermit throw a big remote bomb that splits into smaller ones. R plus A is for Cryonis. This one creates a pillar that we can attack to make snow cones. Our last rune is Magnesis that can be activated with R plus B. This pulls in metallic objects around us before we deliver a royal slash that launches them forward. Now we get to the part where I share with you my build recommendations. First off, the strongest weapon we can get that's fit for a king is a royal claymore. And the highest base damage that I have so far as of making this video is 74. We typically get these higher than high weapons from octo polishing. This weapon's first hidden seal is 20% damage reflected when guarding. The second is 10 to 12% chance to KO weak enemies. For my seal recommendations, first is to go full attack speed. Our best combos on the king are the longest ones, both in sword and axe form, so going full attack speed can help us reach the finishing moves faster. This boost also helps make sword form feel more fluid. My second build recommendation is to go with 2 attack speed seals and 2 strong attack damage seals. This build focuses on further buffing our unique actions, as those are all strong attacks. This also gives an additional 5 to our base damage. I personally go with full attack speed just because I haven't had any luck in getting the highest tier attack speed seals as of making this video. Now it's time for my favorite part of the video. King Rhoam Bosphorus Hyrule has 2 common weak point attack animations. Here's the first. And here's the second. King RBH does have other weak point attack animations depending on the enemy is fighting. Like my other guides, I'm not gonna include those here to avoid spoiling them for you. Next is his special attack. So once we fully charge our stamina bar by killing monsters, we're able to perform a special attack by pressing A. Not only does the special attack deal a ton of damage, we can also use this to avoid the damage from big attacks that we're about to receive when caught off guard. When a boss is about to hit us, we can simply press A, and once the animation starts, the attack that was about to hit us will be cancelled. Here's an excerpt of me fighting a Malice Lionel, briefly showcasing how strong this king is. Click here to watch my full guide to the 4 ladies that can kiss Lionels to death, the Great Fairies. Subscribe to the channel and hit that bell to get notified for more Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity content. Stay tuned for my next vid. Stay healthy, keep safe, and God bless us all.